Hi, I'm Parker Miley.
And I'm Tim Benjamin.
And this is the Rage Podcast. And to talk about today, we are in the week where we start Lent this Wednesday.
Yeah.
And that is obviously Ash Wednesday. And there's also a kind of a minor holiday that some of us might have celebrated before.
Very minor.
That is called Fat Tuesday or Mardi Gras or Carnival, depending on where you're coming from.
Or Shrove Tuesday. It has a lot of different names.
It's got a lot of different names. But this holiday is one that takes away so much meaning and impact of what the whole season of Lent does, to where I hope that if you are listening to this on Monday, today, you will not celebrate this on Tuesday, tomorrow.
Yes, we are advocating not celebrating Fat Tuesday, literally any Tuesday, but specifically this Tuesday.
Yes.
And in order to give a little bit of idea what, the idea of Fat Tuesday is basically you get all of your vices out before the discipline of Lent.
If you look at the layout of how Ash Wednesday is supposed to go according to tradition and everything like that, there's supposed to be one meal in the day and two small meal snack-like things.
Okay.
It's pretty much what I looked up. On Fat Tuesday, it's supposed to be 3 humongous meals and just get all the food, all the chocolate, because that's the big one that everyone gives up. Eat all the chocolate you can before you can't have it for 40 days. And again, look at how pathetic that is. It's 40 days. It's a month.
I mean, think about the fact that you're starting off this season of spiritual discipline and personal honing and getting yourself focused, basically in a diabetic coma.
Yeah.
That's the idea. And a couple of things that Parker and I were talking about. I mean, one of the things is the famous donut that we all eat during this time of year, or on this day, and we had to look up how to pronounce it. It's called a punchki.
Punchki. There, yeah, you got it.
It's a donut filled with
sugar. Actually, just pumped full of sugar.
Honestly, if you had the physical representation of diabetes, it would have to be one of these, because the sugar content and fat content has got to be just ridiculous. And that's the traditional food. Like you have turkey at Thanksgiving, and you have boxes of chocolate for Valentine's Day. Well, you have punchkis for Fat Tuesday. And honestly, you could lump all the rest of the bad food we associate together, and it wouldn't be as bad as one of these donuts. However, they are delicious if you ever had them.
So that's what is the basis of what Fat Tuesday is. And then Ash Wednesday, we go right into this day of fasting. And it doesn't kind of add up. It doesn't just take probably a horrible toll on your body, but for the whole celebration of Lent and what we're supposed to be doing and trying to grow our faith deeper with God and everything, it all is out of sorts. I mean, you could just completely screw up all of your body, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, you could have the entire Ash Wednesday service repenting of just Fat Tuesday.
Yes.
And, so you go from one day that has 8,000 calories to the next day that has 1,200 calories. That can't be good for you.
Yeah, I mean... It's bizarre.
But if you think about the spiritual end of it, though, the idea that I'm going to just purge myself with all this stuff and just gorge myself till I feel sick, because I'm not going to, I guess, allow myself to do that for the next couple weeks. I feel like you're missing the whole point of the experience. The experience is discipline, change your life. And I don't know that eating until you're cross-eyed, I don't know if that accomplishes what you're setting out to do. So
It's shocking because I know of some people who will, it's not always sometimes food. Sometimes they say, I have this horrible habit in my life, and on Ash Wednesday I'm going to start pushing myself away from that. That's when I'm cutting it out of my life. So they do all of these horrible, wicked things or whatever on Fat Tuesday, and completely screw up their entire foundation. It's like saying on...
Well, here's a great example. You have an alcoholic who's going to go to AA, so the day before he gets alcohol poisoning. Yes. That is essentially what we're talking about.
Yeah, that is exactly what we're talking about. It doesn't add up, and it's weakening everything.
Right. And again, we so far have talked about the physical toll of it, which clearly there's one of those. But you also got to think of the spiritual end of this.
Yeah.
What does that say about your spirituality? I mean, basically you're saying, I'm going to give this thing up and Parker and I will have another Rage podcast about this. Lent's actually 46 days, but we're going to meet that in a future episode. But the idea is we're going to take this piece out of my life, but I'm only doing it for Lent.
Yeah.
It's going to come right back. Nobody goes to AA, nobody goes to Weight Watchers, nobody goes to any of these things and says, I'm going to give this up for X amount of days, and then I'm going to fail. And I'm going to fail so hard, and that day is going to be Easter Sunday. You know, it cheapens it on both ends.
You know, I like it's not always just fasting from food. Some people will say, I want to pray every night and every morning.
Right.
I want to read a chapter out of my Bible for all those 40 days, and then they just stop.
Yep.
And that's, I don't feel like that's the goal of Lent. I mean, again, Lent is a time of fasting, and again, you don't fast your whole life. That's not.
Well, I wouldn't recommend giving up all food for the rest of your life.
Yes. But some of those things that we do in Lent are to get us into the rhythm of growing our spiritual relationships. I'm planning a Wednesday night right now just to go into that direction.
Yeah, for youth group.
Yeah, for youth group. And we're talking about how Moses and Jesus and all fasted for 40 days, and how they all had, like, Jesus was in the wilderness being tempted by Satan, and that was his fast. He walked away having a battle with Satan for 40 days, pretty much.
But it would have really cheapened that whole story if Jesus came out from the wilderness, like, look at all these stones, and now they're bread.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all a matter of, like, if you're going to do Ash Wednesday, if you're going to be a part of Lenten tradition, take it seriously, because it's honestly, if it's done right, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be transformational. I mean, and that's what it's supposed to be. And actually, Easter, we talk about Easter Sunday. Easter actually is another 40-day period.
Yeah.
Until you get on to the next holiday. And so all of these are about seasons and about transformation and about doing these things. And yes, there are certain things that short term can make a difference, you know, and maybe kind of fine-tune some things. Absolutely. But if you want to talk about making lifelong changes, you can't put an end date on that. You know, that's not how that works. And so that's what Parker and I are kind of getting at today, is the importance of observing these disciplines, how important they are, and what we can gain from them. But if you put, like we said a number of times, if you got a start date and then an end date, and outside of those two boundaries, we're going to have all the debaucherous misconduct we can fit into the day. All you're doing is proving I'm strong enough to go 46 days without this, and I don't know if that doesn't to me seem like the point.
No, it's
not a test of willpower, right?
It's supposed to be difficult.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is supposed to be difficult.
Don't
Absolutely.
take Lent lightly. I know a lot of people. I don't want to call anyone out. I'm not trying to, but a lot of people say I'm not going to eat chocolate. Okay,
that's a popular one.
So they give up chocolate. However, then by mid-Lent, so about 2 weeks in, they're like, well, maybe I was saying chocolate bars and not a chocolate milkshake. You know, and then, you know, that, I mean, it's truly, take it seriously. I mean, it's like, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. Yeah. It's supposed to be.
Or I've even had people that said, okay, I've got this basket I've been saving, and I'm going to eat all this stuff as soon as my fast is over. And I'm picturing an alcoholic saying, I got this 12-pack, and a day after this, to me that cheapens the whole experience. So what Parker and I are trying to get you to think about, and whatever it is you're going to observe for Lent, and we both really want you to observe some Lenten disciplines, okay? And we're going to talk about that on the Ash Wednesday service. We'll also be here on the channel on YouTube, and hopefully, weather permitting, we're going to have it live as well. Yes. And you can come to our Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, to our Ash Wednesday service, and I'm going to talk at length about Lenten disciplines and how they work and why we have them. So we hope you'll observe some, because I personally believe that'd be transformational, and I've been kind of making a list of some things I'm going to be doing. So we hope you'll do that. But keep in mind that the idea is lifelong transformation. I am being changed because of my experience. And if it's just going to be something we're going to do short term, right. And, if that's not going to lead to any kind of continuing thing, then it's just going to be either, actually, I'll tell you what it will become. It's going to become this awful memory where I went all this time without my favorite thing. Yeah. And I couldn't wait to get it back. And to me, that cheapens the whole experience. It doesn't become a part of your walk with Christ. It becomes a season where I did something I really hated, and God forbid I talk myself into doing it next year. So, yeah. So, well, one of the things that we want to do is, because we are going to have a next level with Parker, is the idea of why we want to observe these disciplines. What is the purpose of them? So in order to talk about the purpose of these disciplines in kind of a short-term way, we're going to go next level with Parker.
A Bible verse often associated with Lent is Genesis 3:19, where it says, "For you are dust, and to dust you shall return." It is to remind us of our human nature, of the original sins, and the wickedness in the fallen world that we live in. That is why we go through our Lenten disciplines, to change ourselves and our spirituality.
Well, thanks for that, Parker. We appreciate you all joining us here on the Rage Podcast, and just glad to know you're going to be along with us. Parker and I have every intention of continuing to put Rage Podcast up during Lent, and we'll be dealing with various Lenten issues. Wednesday night, you can join us here on the channel for our Lenten Bible study, which will be at 8 o'clock on Wednesday nights here on YouTube. You can find links to that on the channel. I usually establish those on Monday. And we're going to have an Ash Wednesday service this coming Wednesday, which will be February 17th at 7 o'clock. Also, we'll be here on the channel, so we hope you'll join us for that.
Or in live.
Or live, yeah. That one again, weather permitting, is going to be live. And so hope you'll be here for that. And just going to be a great time. We hope you have a great Lent, and we look forward to walking this road with you.
Stay safe out there.
Yes. And be careful shoveling your sidewalk.
Yeah.